Do I like people that ask questions to themselves and then answer them? No. Am I going to do that right now just to amuse myself? Yes. Do I like to gamble and throw money away on sports? Yes. Have I thrown $600, $1,200, $1,800 away on drinking and other sorts of chemicals? Sure. If I had lost $1,800 today, would it have made a big impact on my life? No. So the question now remains that I have to ask myself, why? Why didn't I do it? I think now as I sat there wallowing in misery yesterday, and the funny thing is my misery was tempered by the joys and wonders of my daughter. Because now my daughter, she's 5 years old, and if you have a kid at that age, this is a great age. They're learning to read, their thoughts are clicking, and I've got a little girl that, and I know most parents say this about their children, but she's extraordinary. We're having conversations that normal 5-year-olds don't have, and I know this because I see other 5-year-olds. And maybe they're just not as open in front of me as they are with their parents, but I could see the look of bewilderment on the other 5-year-olds when I talk to them as I talk to my 5-year-old. I know she knows things that others don't. And we laughed and we were giggling. We're playing Go Fish. I'm teaching her backgammon already. I'm teaching her how to play all these different board games. We're reading everything. It's fantastic. And I was having a great time. She was listening to music. We're eating ice cream, sitting at my desk, having the best old time. And for a minute there, I really actually didn't care that I had just missed a 70-point move. Let alone that I missed the first 70. This is just tacking it on. Now, the real question has to remain, why? Why wouldn't I do it? Like I said, after the awesome feeling of my daughter wore off, I had to really get down to it, because that's how we become better traders. That's how we become better people. Try to analyze your mistakes and don't let them happen again. But this time it wasn't a mistake. This was a mental choice to try to show myself that I had some sort of willpower, because I had agreed with myself that I wasn't going to gamble on these earnings reports anymore. And it all was going to start with the big goog, because this is the first one that I like to start gambling on. And I said, I'm going to make my stand here. It's like when I first decided not to do any more drugs. Maybe you shouldn't go to a party where all your friends are going to be doing drugs at, or drinking. The temptation is too great. Maybe I shouldn't have chose to not go with the one that I liked the most to start my show of willpower. But let's take a look at it from another perspective. And that's really basically what it came down to. There was no reason for me not to do it. I just did it because I was trying not to do these ridiculous gambles on these earnings reports. Because people, you understand something, right? Such a great song. There is a house in New Orleans. So what I'm trying to say is, oh wait, have we crossed over to the intolerable part of the show? I hope you can sit here and listen to my stories and banter, because we're all going to learn from this situation. Now, as much as I'm angry about missing this crazy move, I'm more upset about my original purchase of $485, selling it at $500 and missing it going to $550. Because remember, it hit $550 and then pulled back to $520 and change. So that was the real money was, because the options were even cheaper then. Because let's look at it. Let's look at it realistically. What I was gonna buy, if we were gambling, were the 550 calls for $6. So right now, those will be opening up at $50. So we're talking about 8 times your money. 8 times your money since the weeklies have been trading on the options. And you know about the weeklies. We've had a 6-bagger or an 8-bagger. There was that time, the innocent trade, that PCX trade, the 4-cent options. They closed at $1. So, I mean, these opportunities are always here. Point-wise, it seems extreme because we're talking about a $600 stock. And I said the way to trade Google, if you're going to be a trader, is when you're feeling like you're chasing it, think of it as just a $45 stock or a $50 stock or now a $60 stock. But now are we saved once again? Do we forget about the systemic risk that the global debt is going to have in the stock market and the inevitable downgrade of the U.S. market's debt? Do we forget about that because of corporate earnings? In theory, that does make sense because we should only concentrate on corporate earnings because these are stocks and they're supposed to reflect the earnings of these companies and what they're doing. Which brings me to yesterday's LinkedIn trade, okay? So, opportunities, they're here every single day, right? And I think I told you about my favorite kind of day trades, the pivot point reversals. LinkedIn was a perfect candidate. The stock had that monumental run. It was green, started going red, tried to go green again, failed. There's your entry for a short. I know it's a very difficult stock to find any shorts, so we went to the naked calls. We made some money on that. So there's always money to be made somewhere, obviously. You're not going to have a 70-point move in every stock. So let's just look at it as a 10% move. So what's another 10% move amongst friends? What's a 70-point move amongst friends, right? Because, listen, 2 quarters ago, or maybe it was even last quarter, when the Google report came out, and you could have bought those, I don't know what they were, 580s, and the stock went red and plummeted like 10, 20 points. There was a point where you could have bought those options for $1 and change, and they closed at $22. So you can't sweat it, and you gotta forget it. Moving on, right? We're gonna find another one, another 10-bagger. Yeah. All right. Well, that's what we're gonna do now. So I also really sat down and had my own seance yesterday. I channeled the Jesus Christ of Wall Street because he needs to make an appearance now. Because if yesterday wasn't a gift that I bestowed upon the world, then I don't know what was. So, yay, Jesus is coming.